God really loves us. Look at the creation, the foods of all kinds, and the ground and everything. Clothing, shelter, all these things. And He wants His love in us. Hi, and welcome to the Sabbath Christian Church's online sermon. The commandments are there. The commandments are built into the creation, as we have seen. There aren't too many people that don't have problems keeping the commandments. God gives us a way to keep the commandments. First of all, we have to know the commandments. And we can know the commandments by seeing or hearing. Back in the day when there wasn't too much seeing, when there wasn't too much written down and everything else, it was hearing the commandments and seeing them as well, because when it's seen and it's written in stone, it can't be changed. It's there, the way it's supposed to be. And Deuteronomy 30:10 says, if you obey the Lord your God to keep His commandments and His statutes which are written in the book of the law, on the stone. And if you turn to the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, so you got to see them. They got to be there. It has to be permanent. No change. When it's written in stone, there is no change. In Deuteronomy 30:14, it says, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth. This is so important because one of the most powerful ways to keep the commandments is to say them. Say them out loud. I am the Lord your God, brought you out of the land of Egypt. Saying the commandments is very, very important. Very, very important. He says, but the word is very near you. Hebrews 2:1 says, for this reason we must pay much closer attention to what we have heard, so that we do not drift away from the word. For the word is spoken through the angels. Again, seeing and hearing the words and saying the words. For if the words spoken through the angels proved unalterable, very important, can't be changed around. And how will we, Hebrews 2:3 says, how will we escape such a great salvation after it was first spoken? For us to say the word puts the word into our own ears and our thinking, puts it into our minds. So it comes from our minds to our mouth to our ears. It is a powerful way to do it. 1 Kings 8:58 says that He may incline our hearts to Himself to walk in His way. Romans 10:10 says, for with the heart a person believes. Here, a believing person. Not everyone is a believer. Resulting in righteousness, and with the mouth he confesses, resulting in salvation. Say it. Saying it is very, very powerful and very, very important. What God says comes from whom He is. When we speak the same things as God says, God's mind, His words, what He says to us enters our mind and it sits there. And we say it. and we remember it. And God's words are in our mind. It takes the uppermost spot in our mind, controlling the rest of our thinking. God's mind to enter our mind, and we become sons and daughters of God. Because He's there. His spirit, His mind is there. And then, not only do we just say it, because there are people around that just say things, and they don't do things, they just say it. The con artist. Let your 1 Kings 8:61 says, "Let your hearts therefore be wholly devoted to the Lord. Walk in His ways, His statutes, and keep His commandments as at this day." Walk in it. Say it. Do it. 2 Kings 23:3 says, "The king stood by the pillar and made a covenant with the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep His commandments." Not just to say them, but you need that first as a foundation, and then you have to do it. Prove it. His testimonies and statutes with all your heart and soul to carry out the words of the covenant that were written in the book. And 1 Chronicles 29:19 it says, "And to give my son Solomon a perfect heart to keep your commandments." This is very, very important, as we know, as we see. And to do them all. Now, keeping the commandments and saying the commandments and doing the commandments is a test. Now, being tested is a very good thing to see how well we're doing. We study for a test that we may take in school way back in the day, but to be tested about something is important. Where is it weak? Where are we strong? So Deuteronomy 8:2 says, He says, "God led you in the wilderness for 40 years that He might humble you, testing you to know what was in your heart." So you don't know until you have to do it, and you come up with something and you say, there's a weakness there. It's not working right, whether you would keep the commandments or not. And Judges 2:22 says, "In order to test Israel by them, to keep the way of the Lord, to walk in His heart." Did or not? Very important. Exodus 20:20 says, "And Moses said to the people, 'Don't be afraid. God has come in order to test you, in order that the fear of Him may remain in you, so that you may not sin." A person has to know how well they're doing. They need to be tested. Can I do it? Can't. If I'm not doing it right, do this. God will help. God is there for the testing. Give us the answers. Give us the way. Jesus said it, It's through the words of the book. 2 Chronicles 32:31 says, "That is the matter that the envoys of the rulers of Babylon, to see what was in their hearts." To see that the heart is pure as it should be, get tested. 1 Peter 5:6, "Therefore humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that He might exalt you at the proper time." Psalm 76:9 says, "When God rose to judgment to save the humble of the earth," because it's often arrogance that keeps us. I want to do this. That's what Eve says. I want to know about the words of good and evil. And in Psalm 69:32 says, "The humble have seen it and are glad. You who seek God, the heart revives." Got to do it. Now, we need to remember to do this way. To see it, to hear it, to say it, to do it. When we do the first part of that and we start doing it, we are blessed by the commandments. Fear God and keep His commandments. Amen. And thank you for watching and listening.